reason. I think it was largely either Canadian or dual citizenship pass for animated. I was told, because my agent inquired about Grimlock in particular, that they thought he would either not appear in that series or appear in very limited capacity. David Kaye was a friend. This is nothing to him. Was already doing several other roles in that show, and they just sort of threw it to him. But no, I don't believe I ever auditioned for any of the characters in that show.
Get my syndrome.
Of course. I only get to go where I'm invited. That's why I am happy that I've been invited so many places over so many years. But I can't do those things simply because I would like to do them. But yes, I would love to have some impact on other incarnations and franchises of this show. Just to sort of, I mean, the comedic version of it was last night, where we sort of fiddled with the time-space continuum, but I always thought that would be an interesting element to throw in. Okay, who's next?
Do you have a favorite episode?
Grimlock's New Brain. For all the reasons I was terrified of it, I just think it's such a bizarre story turn. And I know there are people who think it got too comedic, or it got, they were giving Grimlock a lot of twists and turns, and that's because he was being received well. And the figures, I mean, there was a corporate aspect to a lot of it. It should have nothing to do with the creative process, but it does. And they were giving me more to do, and some of it, this is actually an interesting question, because some of it that was perceived as too comedic, I didn't perceive as too comedic, because I was just, I like challenges within a script. So I already felt that I knew him in 3 dimensions, and that anything that I did or said as him, I was entrusted with making that the truth. So my job was just to make the words and the pages become part of that world. I said this last night as well, in order to make that judgment call and analyze the overall story arc and all of those things, I would have to take myself outside the character and look in as an analyst rather than an actor. I think actors function at their best, and should, only seeing that work from the inside out. That's the only way you can really do it justice. But that episode, when it was completed, and I thought, I gave it all to Computron, and now I get to go back to just what I want to do. I guess that's my favorite.
Was there much difference in the experience of back in the movie to an episode?
The animated film? Yeah. Yes and no. Wally Burr still directed. Wally Burr still was absolutely devoted to putting all of the people in a given scene into the scene at the same time. He wanted us to feed off of each other. These days, I don't know whether you know, but particularly in interactive gaming, but even in some animated series, out of necessity or maybe out of convenience, they'll put us in the studio one person at a time, really isolated, and then put the whole thing together like a jigsaw puzzle. And that can be done. Actually, it gives them more flexibility. For gaming, it's almost easier for them, because each character has so many twists and turns and different interactions than you would have anticipated. But Wally always wanted ensemble work from an ensemble. So if there were 4 people in the scene, those 4 people were in the studio. Not anyone who was not immediately in that scene with each other. So that meant lots and lots of waiting time for the rest of us. Also, Judd Nelson said, look, I'm a good actor, I know I'm a good actor, but I really am uncomfortable in this scenario. He said, I'm not even sure how to talk to a microphone because we're so used to talking to people. So for part of it, someone came around and just stood in front of him, so he had someone to talk to. It made all the difference. Now, if the person moved over here, if the person got directly behind the mic, he'd be right on the mic talking to the person. Person moved. Person comes back, Judd's back.
Thank you.
question? Oh, here we go.
Can we please have Moonlock's commentary on what's happening on screen?
Me can't comment because me looking this way. You're not so smart. Hold on, me turn around. Big robot, small shield, big mountain. High tech, low tech. Women! Oh, Brian. Sewing machine. Mars! Heartbeat. Sewing machine. We should stop now.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Tony.
Who was your favourite other voice actor that you'd like to work with? You know, during G1?
Favorite in the room or never in the room? Or?
Or your favourite stories, or
Say again.
who was your favourite other cast member? That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, I have to name one? I'm not trying to dodge the question. Everyone for different reasons. Chris Latta was a genius who was a tortured soul to some degree. He would beat himself up like no one I've ever seen. But it's because he was so passionate about whatever it is he did. I suspect he had demons he was battling, but he would throw himself into his work in a way that actually, absolutely dwarfs anything that I could bring to the party. He really, really gave it everything. I feel like I gave it everything, but not to that degree. His was almost to a dangerous degree. It's like if he didn't have that place to put all that energy, he would find something less positive to do with it. I'm just speculating. Arthur Berger, just similar, just fountain of energy, and with the energy came the temperament. I would say I myself as a person am probably closer to Skyfire or Prime. I'm very careful to consider things. I was having this conversation earlier, ready, fire, aim, that kind of philosophy. But those two guys were like, ready, fire, aim. They would give it all and just go. Frank, beyond belief. I have the great pleasure of still working with Frank every week. We're doing new episodes of Garfield. I start season 2. It's on Boomerang UK. I start season 2 the day I get back. I fly, get home. So if you see an episode somewhere further down the line that feels particularly jet lagged, that'll be the episode I did 5 minutes after I get home. Frank is a different kind of genius. Frank made he would always do something ridiculously funny and then say, well, it was this or college. Frank would go to the side of the room, pick up an imaginary phone, and drop coins in. I don't do it, but you get the idea. And while we're all just like relaxing or going through pages and stuff here, hello. A little bit, I just can't do it. So he'd have his side of the conversation, the other side of the conversation, so much so that it all became real. He was just at a phone booth in the studio. And it was like that, and people would do stuff that would just break the ice and break the monotony, not that it was monotony, but make the hours pass. And I've had the great good fortune of doing films on camera as well. And when you're on location, actually Wally Burr North turned out to be our location for a period of happily seasons. But when you're on location, you've got to do something to sort of bond with the people you're with, and hopefully somebody's a cut up and knows when to just like do something stupid and make everybody laugh, and sewing machine, and like that. So I mean, it's like that. Different people for different reasons. I said to you, Scatman, last night just because I felt like this guy was from heaven on earth and has now gone back to heaven. Just a halo that you could feel when he walked in the room. You just want to like be there and listen to whatever he wants to talk about. Michael Bell has been a great friend over decades. Those of us who were doing G.I. Joe at the same time as we were doing Transformers, you know, double the bond, double the time, double the just ability to sort of take the pressure off for each other. Okay?